I wonder what kind of weapons I should make for the hunters in Iceborne.
Make weapons of whimsy and wonder, more like the Joe Chargeblade or the Nergy Collection.
Honestly, if anything, you should take those monster bits off of the weapons. Just metal and bones, baby!
But what happened to the style of old?
Fine, alright, we can put like a single toenail on them.
2 toenails?
You ask for far too much, puny man! I should remove even the handle from your sword for this insolence! Oh, you guys are the sweetest. I think I'll turn you both into a weapon. What?
Hello, my fellow hunters. Iceborne, needless to say, is, how would you put it, hype as fuck! But there may be something sneaking under the radar amidst the amazing new map, all of the incredible monsters returning and new, all of the new areas and mechanics and beautiful armors, and just, you know, there might be something, and that's the weaponry, okay? Because whether you stab, you poke, you bash, you explode, you shoot, you trip teammates, you want to be doing it all with a weapon that you can be proud of. A weapon that is purely badass in the way that most appeals to you. And, well, it's no secret the world has left a lot of people feeling kind of in that department. Gone are the ridiculousness of the old days where, yes, there were some purely cool weapons, but you could also roll up and try and kill a monster with a shark.
Fight!
While we don't necessarily need to go back to that level of ridiculousness, at the same time, there's no harm in having a few just there because you can. And I'm really in two minds whether Iceborne is starting to put the flair back into our arsenal, or they are continuing their design ethos, because World certainly has a more, the easiest word is, realistic core running through its weaponry. It makes sense to start with a base actual weapon forged from the fires of the workshop and the metals available, and then to enhance it as you hunt, infuse it with parts. It is a little bit weird to essentially scrap what you've been holding and then build an entire new core and handle of your equipment with plates and bone, which might even technically be weaker than the metal you were using. But then again, the knowledge of the structural integrity of your weapon technically being better if it was to be made real probably isn't a balm over, I could be using a fucking, look at this, where is that, where did it go? And that is a very valid thing to feel, because how the player feels wielding the thing, it is all about that fantasy, you know, it's the oomph, it's the juice. And for a lot of people, metal with bits of monster stuck onto it for most of the roster, well, just isn't cutting it. Unless you're using a bladed weapon. Hey, but you know what I'm saying. Personally, I've not minded it that much. Enough weapons have a unique, really interesting and cool-looking final form that I'm kind of tided over. Like, you have the Nergigante final weapons, the flagship getting the good treatment, they're all awesome. Devil Joe successfully ported all of his and added new ones for those that didn't have them, and they all look fantastic. But then I remember equally the one time I truly was bitterly disappointed with the weapons in World, and that was Zeno. You have this enigmatic alien creature, this secret final boss. He is unlike anything that's ever been before. One of the most fascinating designs, a mystery wrapped in secrecy, a glowing just... you know what Zeno is. I don't know why I'm fucking selling him. It's been over a fucking year. And I went to the smithy after killing him expecting something just... oh! And it was metal with bits of his skin flaps stapled to it. And I just... there's so much potential there, and it just feels like it didn't happen. So, Iceborne then, is it going to continue? Are they going to stick to the kind of design hole they've put themselves in? Or are they going to expand out? One thing I do think we can rule out is excessively silly weapons. We know that the old Tigrex Bowgun, of course, was, by the way, a literal fucking tank. And having seen the Tigrex light bow gun in the trailers, it's just a kind of normal light bow gun with Tigrex bits on. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit disappointed. But then again, I can't imagine someone running around holding a tank in Monster. I just don't think it would fit, so I can understand that. So, I would like to go with the theory that we are, in fact, getting at least monsters that didn't have a unique final form when it comes to the highest rarity. So the Zeno tree will continue to rare 9, rare 10, and then that one will be what we always wanted to begin with. That's the optimistic approach, but the thing is, the beta didn't really give us a clear picture one way or the other, or indeed it continued in the some will, some won't. Anjanaf's longsword became amazing, whereas the most recent trailer, the Naga Cougar charge blade, is just, well, a metal charge blade with a spattering of feathers jammed under the crest plate, which again, I feel like you can't look at that and be like, yeah, I'm using a Naga Cougar weapon, I am stealth. Maybe you can't be like, I am stealth no matter what it looks like, but you know what I'm saying, that's kind of, But we see the Sword and Shield's final form, and it does look faithful like the old games, unique and, well, Naga's Sword and Shield. Whereas Cougar's never had a charge blade, so I think the hypothesis that the old monsters, if they're getting a weapon in a new category they've not had in other games, it'll be metal with bits, and if they're getting one that they've always had, it will be a faithful, at least for the most part, recreation. At least generally. Let's look at Barrioff, that kind of shifts that a little bit, because he has had a bit of a redesign. We know that this is what his weapons look like in the older games. They are very much truly just him personified in the various bits of equipment. His bow, the actual like mock version of his head with the teeth arcing forward to hold the arrow, the spikes and the plating and the ridging, and it just works really well. And then you look at what we know his weapons are going to be like in World, and the thing is, I don't hate this. I really don't. Having his saber teeth facing forward like that, it gives a really gnarly look, and I think it's very sleek, and a part of me genuinely prefers this design. And even getting the little sneaky look at the Tigrex Bow, it seems to be following the same theme, a bit of its materials in the center in a spiky formation, but, you know, the metal core is there. And it really does beg the question, does a weapon need to be made fully out the monster to be cool? And I feel like that's not true. Lunastra weapons are beautiful, and they're just the metal weapons but colored in Luna's hues, and they came out gorgeous. So it's all about how it's done, and I can only see it getting better as Iceborne rolls on, and they have more, well, nuance when it comes to making these world-esque weapons, more experience under their belt. And then you go to the hammer, which, you know, he's not had a hammer before, but it's undeniable this is just the metal bits with Barrioff parts stuck on, which is what we kind of don't want to see, especially for a monster, well, as big of a deal as Barrioff. So again, we kind of have the mixed bag. It's the whole, if they're getting a new weapon category, it's just bits stuck on a base weapon, and if they're getting an existing one, it's a, well, almost faithful, slightly shifted recreation. But like, imagine if this ends up being his greatsword. It's just really anticlimactic. Velkhana's weaponry, at least that we've seen, looks just fantastic. The charge blade here, it is beautiful. But then again, Gigante's weapons were all incredibly well done. That's just a symptom of being the flagships. That doesn't really tell us a lot either. We do have a few more well-known returning weapons too, such as the Rathalos and Rathian coming together in sweetest lovers dance in dual blade form for the twin flames, and they, well, are very nice to see once again. So, essentially what I'm getting at here is, it looks to be, from all signs we can see, a very mixed bag. It looks like some monsters will get a unique and just really amazingly designed set of weapons. Some will be stuck with bits of their flesh stuck on metal. And that's just kind of going to continue. They have said they have heard how we felt about the weapons, heard that we want more unique designs, so I think they will favor that. I think it will be a change in that direction, but I don't think they can completely flip everything around, because remember, Iceborne's been in development this entire time. Most of it will just be already done. So we're kind of getting what we're getting at this point, and the main thing for me is I don't want to see the old monsters that are returning have their weapons gutted and changed into something much lesser than they used to be. The big question, of course, is how do you guys feel about this? Have you even thought that the base weapons in World, most of them kind of haven't done anything for you? Have you been a little bit disillusioned by them? Are you wanting the more just over-the-top ridiculousness from the old games to return? Because don't get me wrong, World has some of the best designs ever put forward in Monster Hunter. Just look at the rocket-powered greatsword! I truly believe it is just the single best greatsword ever done, but then again, you remember that a fan designed that for a competition, so maybe that can't be used as an offset point. It really probably can't. I just find it rather fascinating, I really do. There are definitely pros and cons to both systems from both a player standpoint and a design standpoint, and essentially I'm just very curious, very excited to see how this ends up materializing in the actual game. Let me know what you guys think, let me know if you are really, I don't care, I'll just use what I use and it's fine. Or if you're like, not again with the iron bits, come on, I just want cool weapons again. I just think a few very important monsters like Zeno need to get something actually uniquely theirs and not just built on a template. I really, really do. Alright team, my name has been Josh. Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more, hit the bell, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.